Hi, my name is Jeff Hewitt, General Manager here at Brian Cullen Motors, and today we are talking about this brand new 2026 Corvette E-Ray. So if you're in the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle, come down, check us out at 386 Ontario Street in St. Catharines and click the link at the top of the description there to start the conversation. Okay, so this is a new E-Ray for 2026. There are some changes. Most of them are inside the vehicle, and so when we get there, we're going to talk about them. In the meantime, we're going to show you around what is special about this car. Now, if you saw my previous E-Ray video, we talked a lot about performance and things like that. Of course, it's got 495 horsepower coming from the engine, and it's got another 160 horsepower coming from the front electric drive unit, but there's a lot more to it than that. So we'll get into some of the electric drive unit stuff. And oh, by the way, you don't plug this in, it's just a hybrid, okay? So we'll talk about that. But in the meantime, what I do want to talk about is this beautiful car, because this is one of my babies. Now, I have the unique privilege of configuring all these Corvettes that you can see in the background here. But this is one of my favorite builds, and I'm going to tell you why, because it's white. It's got some black accents with a little touch of red, and I just think it looks spectacular. White makes everything pop, and that's what's wonderful about this. So this is an E-Ray, and here in Canada we call it a 2LZ, and to my American friends who love to bust me up on comments, it is a 2LZ if it's south of the border. But here it is a 2LZ, and of course it does have all the things that you expect to have in a Corvette. So it does have the frunk. Even though it does have a front drive unit, we still have the front capabilities where this is storage, and I can tell you from my Corvette and driving around, I actually use this way more than the back, and I think you will too once you get used to having one. Of course, you have your plug-in here for your battery tender, all the usual stuff that you're finding in the frunk. And don't forget, it does have a soft pull down, so you don't have to slam the lid, it's just gonna pull it down by itself. But let's get around the side here and talk about some of the things that make E-Ray unique and just make this car look amazing. So with E-Ray, of course, that's on Corvette's wider platform. And when I say that, if you take a Stingray and you put it beside an E-Ray, if you're sharp, you're going to notice that this car is actually about 3.5 inches wider than a Stingray. Same as Z06, same basic body configuration as a Z06 or Z06 for my American friends. It is wider. Now, why do they make it wider? Well, A, it looks really cool. There's no doubt about that. The other thing is that the tires get much beefier. This front tire, for example, is 70 millimeters wider than the front tire on a Stingray. 60 millimeters wider on the back, so you get this massive footprint down on the pavement. Now these tires, of course, are on these beautiful black wheels. You'll notice the fine details that we like to put into cars. We even made the wheel nuts black, right, to make them just sort of blend in properly. The other thing you're noticing in this wheel is this massive brake package. This is the J57 brake package that is standard on E-Ray. It's the carbon ceramic brakes. Notice the red calipers. We've chosen red because it pops nice against the white. But we do have we have two different reds. You can get them in black, gray. The other thing is that you can also do is you can get them in blue this year. Only with the J57 brake package you can get blue. Actually, I think it might look good on this car. Put some comments in and tell me what you think. So as we look down the side of the car, of course, you do have your fuel-filled door here. And like I said at the top, there is no charge port. So just to dispel all the myths, this is not a Corvette you plug in. This is a Corvette with a naturally aspirated engine making 495 horsepower. It does have the electric drive unit, but you're never gonna plug this car in. You're gonna gas it right here, just like every other Corvette. Otherwise, it's all E-Ray here. You notice that we do some accents. We have the black spoiler and the black mirrors, just to pick up on some of the black accents. And you'll notice that this being a coupe, we've also equipped it with the transparent top. I kind of like the way all of this looks. We do some special in-house treatments for some people that buy coupes. They kind of like getting the halo bar here put in black as well to make this more of a black top look. We can do the A-pillars, make it almost look like what we do with convertibles when we have the black nacelles. So we can do all those sorts of things in-house for you. Let's go around the back and take a look. Okay, so out back here, of course, we are a coupe, so that means we have a deck lid, and that opens us way up so you can see the engine compartment. We do have the illuminated engine compartment in the back here. Little options that we like to add. If you're gonna open the back and you're gonna show off the engine, you might as well light it up. So we do have the 495 horsepower, 6.2 liter engine. Same engine as Stingray, same exhaust system you get basically with the Z51 package. This is the primary power plant for the car. When you get into asking for more throttle, asking for more acceleration, that's when that front drive unit's gonna kick in. Once again, when we get inside the car, we're going to talk a little bit more about what that does. Let's not wait any longer. Let's get inside. So, with the magic of photography, of course, we've already removed the top just to make filming a little bit easier. Being the transparent top, though, it is actually really easy to remove. Just comes on and off. One person can do it. Pretty simple stuff. But now here we are, we're inside. This is a 2026. So being a 26, we have the redesigned interior. Some of the big changes are pretty obvious. First of all, the wall of buttons is gone. So for the most part, that wall of buttons has been replaced by some hard buttons here below the entertainment center. Some of those hard buttons, like the heated seats controls and things like that, they're actually now touch display controlled. So there's a few changes. Cup holders are now exposed. We've had some comments about that. They used to be covered in the previous version of the interior. And obviously the mode select dial that used to live right here is now gone. It has actually moved to a toggle in this position. So there's some changes, some stuff has moved around and there's been some refinements, but the biggest change being an E-Ray, that the Charge Plus select button has been moved to the steering wheel off of the center console. And so this is easily activated by your thumb. So this is where we get into the technology part of this car. First of all, the changes in the displays are great. We've got a new, bigger entertainment stack here over the center. We have a wonderful new reshaped center display, and we have a third touchscreen display over here on the left side. So you have all the information you want. You do have configuration choices, and even you have an onboard app for performance when it comes to E-Ray that's specialized to E-Ray. These are all great things, but the first and foremost is, okay, so how does the electric battery and front wheel drive work? And it's pretty simple. Basically, there's a battery that's running through the center, what we used to call the drive shaft tunnel in the car. Running through the center here is where the battery is housed. How does the battery get electricity? Well, there's three basic ways. There's a very gentle sort of deceleration. So when you let off the gas pedal, it will have a mild regen, similar to, well, quite frankly, if you let off the gas on a high compression engine, the compression pulls you down and starts slowing you down. That's what that mild regen is going to feel like. And it starts to charge the battery. Then you have progressive charging when you apply the brake pedal. So you apply the brakes. The more you apply the brakes, the harder the regen goes. And so once again, it's starting to regen that battery for you. The third one is obviously Charge Plus. So when you get into Charge Plus mode, and this is where you're going to be using this, especially on the track, is that it actually will use some engine power to charge that battery to top it up, so you will have, when you come out of that corner, for example, to have full power for acceleration. So, and I can tell you, talking with Ron Fellows, and he actually drives one of these things as a daily driver, he's a Canadian racing legend. He tells me that on the track, he's never run out of front battery power using Charge Plus. So I'm a believer. Right? I certainly believe, Ron, that is the way to do it. So that's how the battery charges. So how does the battery get used? Well, once again, there's a few ways. Everyday driving, as you accelerate, the more you demand from the accelerator pedal, the more power it'll deliver to those front wheels. So if you're really performance driving, getting that throttle down to the floor, it's sending all that power to the front wheels to help pull you out of that corner. And that's where the performance is coming from in this car. So Stingray in the back, add the E-Ray portion in the front, and I gotta tell you, that makes the difference. So what else can you use it for? Well, I think everybody by now has probably heard about stealth mode. So you can actually select stealth mode with the toggle, and you can drive this on just battery power alone, driving the front wheels up to about 70 kilometers an hour. I think technically it's 72 kilometers per hour, and you can drive the vehicle silently. There is a third mode that is actually kind of neat and was something that we use around the dealership here, and I can see that if I was an owner and I'd be using this at my home, is they have what they call shuttle mode. And shuttle mode is kind of interesting. Shuttle mode, you don't even have to start the car. You simply get in with the key, seatbelt done up, and you toggle into shuttle mode. And what that's designed to do is literally, like it says, is to shuttle the car around in the driveway even. The engine never starts. And so this is kind of handy if you're a household like mine where you've got, well, more cars than drivers. Sometimes to get to the car that you want, you got to move stuff around. And that's what shuttle mode is all about. So you don't have to necessarily wake the neighbors at 6 a.m. with a cold start, right? That's a good time to use shuttle mode if you need to move the Corvette out of the way to maybe get another vehicle that you're driving that day. So that's what shuttle mode's about. Kind of a neat little added feature that they're taking advantage of the technology that's in the car to make something happen. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to start it up without starting it up. So I'm just pushing and holding here and not actually going to engage the starter, but I want you to be able to see the displays as they show up. You have choices as to obviously what you want to see over here. You have choices of how you want your dash to look. And as you cycle through the modes, all your dash displays change. So now we're in track mode. This allows you to, once again, utilize the onboard track recorder. I actually use it as a daily driver to you just use it as a dash cam. The camera is located at the top. We can overlay the data. You can see what's going on. So as you toggle through the modes, you can see all the different things that we can do with it. Sport mode, track mode, right? Get down into touring mode. And this changes the display for how it's going to run. And really kind of neat what Corvette has done here, giving you lots of choice, taking away the wall of buttons, and they've moved all of this into the menu here. Of course, we've got all the apps you'll ever want to run. You can scroll through. We do have Apple CarPlay, all the performance apps, toggling phones. And by the way, the biggest change for 2026 is we actually have a really good phone holder. When you get into your Corvette, we do have a new place to put your phone, and it's right here. Wireless charger, it just came up on the screen. It actually holds the phone down. So when you make those quick maneuvers, you're not going to lose your phone somewhere under a seat. It keeps it in place. And by the way, you won't forget it. It does give you that little warning when you get out of the car that there's still a phone in your charger. Really great updates, changes, some really interesting new modes on the car. Can't say enough about this. And really with this amazing two-tone interior against the white car, gotta love it. E-Ray 2026, all new. So make sure you come on down to Brian Cullen Motors, 386 Ontario Street in St. Catharines. Take a look at what we've got here. We've got a ton of Corvettes to show you. If you haven't had a chance to drive one of these yet, provided the weather's good, let's get out there and go for a drive.